My name is Jerri Neddermeyer. Mostly I'm a clay artist, but recently I've really expanded into doing some painting, some drawing, some ink monoprints, just sort of figuring out how to tell my story with whatever media happens to be at hand. Mudança is a Portuguese word. It means change. I feel like COVID has really stressed a lot of us out, and we're spending a lot of limitation time thinking about what we can't do, and it's really hard on our emotional spirits. And I think it's forcing, at least for me, a change to take control over how I feel about things and how I experience the world and what I let COVID do to me, and how I allow my environment to dictate how I feel. I'm a high-risk person. I'm in a family of 4, and we were all very locked down. Someone told me early on in the pandemic to view COVID as if it were black ink sprayed out of people who were contagious, and it lays all over surfaces, and then you walk through it and you touch it and you track it. Everybody does. And that image really stuck with me. I started to feel like every time someone walked into my house that they were tracking ink and they were touching things, and that was staying everywhere, and that I was seeing infection everywhere I went, which meant I couldn't rest anywhere. Like there wasn't a single place in my environment that I could feel safe. My husband tested positive for COVID, and I was like, nope, I'm out. And I packed up my stuff and I went to stay with my aunt and uncle. At that point, I'd already been kind of repeatedly having this nightmare. This person was asking me, what do I see? And he's evaluating my mental stability or my personality type or whatever evaluations come from any sort of test like that. And the only thing I can see in the room that I'm in while he's trying to test me is ink. I can't see what he's doing. I don't care what he's doing. I don't care about the purpose of what he's doing. I just see the ink. It was really terrifying. I felt like I was being yelled at when I didn't have any control over my interaction with the space. So all I could see was the ink, and he's asking me to make sense out of these images. How do I take this dream that keeps me up most nights, every single night, and I wake up in a panic? How do I take that and see something different? I think it was 2 nights into my stay at my aunt and uncle's house, I slept well, and I saw panels instead of the nightmare. And that was the first I had seen it as a project, a picture, something. And I printed. I made a big, huge mess. I got ink all over my hands. I put it on pieces of paper and I drew on it. I made these butterflies because they felt like the Rorschach test that was from my nightmare, but instead of them being these nasty images, they felt like a symbol of change. When I start seeing images and how they fold on a line of symmetry and how those blots, you can kind of make control out of them when you're making them yourself. I can make wings, or I can make a gesture, or I can put water all over a piece of paper and see what happens. And all of those things yield a balance on a line of symmetry. And then I worry about later, how do I make a creature out of that so that it's not just a blob. I heard a story of people saying, the caterpillar goes in, it makes the cocoon, and then on the other side, it's a butterfly. But what you don't really realize is that in the middle, it doesn't go from caterpillar to butterfly. It goes from caterpillar to liquid goo. And if it's interrupted in that process, it never survives into butterfly. You feel like you're in this space in the middle of COVID, and you're like, none of us are going to get out of this. And you're wrapped up in your little blanket, and you're like holding on. And then you have 2 choices. Do I try to heal and go this way? Or do I just lean all the way in, liquefy completely, come out on the other side a different thing? And that's what I felt my choice had to be. I think it's nice to be able to create just because you have to sometimes. And this was definitely one of those projects I just had to. I couldn't not. And now that I sit in it, it's interesting because it feels like an exterior thing. I took what was inside and I pushed it out. And now it's, it's this thing which initially is kind of horrifying, but it's also really beautiful. And there's edges of papers, and there's wrinkles in it, and there's defects, and I punched a bajillion holes in things. So I have this massive pile of little bits of paper. I don't know what I'm going to do with little bits of paper, but I can't throw them out because they were part of this thing. So it stops being a personality test, and it becomes more of a personality testament, or a tapestry for how you cope. Butterflies and bugs and things with wings and a lot of ink that isn't dangerous.